What is up with it? We are back with Melee It On Me. We haven't been on for a while, but we got a show for you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. But first off, I want to introduce our panel to the people. Sheridan, what is up with it?
Lots of good things are up with it. Yeah.
Awesome. You're not really being specific there. I'm questioning your respect and integrity.
What?
Okay, Crimson, how are you? You're the guest of honor today.
I am fantastic, Tafokints. Thank you for asking. I'm very excited to be on the show, hosted by the wonderful Nick Costantino. Actually, this is going to be a pretty exciting show, I think. We got a lot to cover. I got my drinks with me. I'm trying to party, so let's go.
Nice. You know, I figured out how to do this Scar impression. You just emphasize certain words, and you talk extra loud when you say those words, and you enunciate it.
He's got like a specific way that like sentences. They've got like a certain prosody. They've got like a tone over the course of the sentence. Yeah, and then I went up to Blur, and Blur said this, and that's basically you just got to do that every sentence, and you got Bobby.
And then you have to complain about something like the sixth sentence in. So PSAs, we don't have too much other than the fact that Scar, Toph, and myself, we all have separate Twitch channels, so you can follow them at Twitch_Scar. Toph BBQ? I don't know his stream. You guys you can find it somewhere. And Tafokints. And the reason why we're doing this is because we've had a lot of conflict in the past month in streaming on the Melee It On Me channel, and we figured that it would be ultimately good for the community to have 3 channels instead of 1 to stream off of. So we're going to be doing a lot more individual content, and we will be using this main channel for podcasts like these and anything that requires something large enough, like another hypothetical spirit bomb.
Yeah,
so
I might even try to stream eventually too.
Sheridan, you're gonna stream?
Maybe.
What a world we live in. First, we convinced him to go have a Twitter, and now he's making his own content. I feel like we're getting Sheridan outside of his show.
I'm probably not going to stream Melee though.
What are you going to stream?
Probably stream like playing Steam games on Steam.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
So
I would
stream. I actually thought of the greatest idea ever. Once I flesh it out, I'm going to do Melee Trivia Nights, where I get 2 to 3 of my subs on a Skype call with me, and I have a set of questions. The audience can play along, and we'll do trivia where the questions initially start off easy, and then it adds up towards the end and becomes really hard, where Crimson would have to look on Google to figure out these questions.
Ooh.
I think Trivia Night sounds really good.
I'm pretty good at Melee trivia, as you know, so those would have to be really hard.
Well, I can think of like really obscure ones that like are kind of on the fringe of like how the hell would you ever know that kind of questions.
Yeah, they have to be placing in like 2004 or something, and you're just like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, actually, there's not that like compared to nowadays. There's not that many like super important results from like 2004 through 2006 or 7. So it's not actually that hard to like memorize all of those.
Yeah.
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Name all the original members of DBR.
Original members of DBR?
I mean, that's easy.
Yeah. Germ, Zelgadis, Claude Zero, Mike Nasty, Bob Money.
You gotta remember the image.
The
Come
Sheik.
On. The Sheik.
Not DSF. Not DSF. And not the King. God, what the hell was his name? And then there's the Doug. And who was the last one?
Dude, people would have not gotten the Doug, by the way. I think like 90% of the chat.
Nobody would know. Nobody knows the Doug.
I think
even though the Doug still plays.
He
not
does.
Guessing.
In Virginia, right?
I don't remember. He like moved to England and then he came back to the U.S. or something. God, God, what was the Sheik guy's name? I played with him. I'm blanking on it right now. What was his name?
I don't know.
Gosh dang it! Now you're like making me blank.
What? You asked me this question and you didn't have the answer prepared?
It's one of those things where like the infection of like not knowing spreads to everybody, and then you second guess yourself. Oh well. See, that was a hard question.
I'll remember it.
None of us got it.
We forgot a fucking Sam. We forgot Sam. Yeah. But there's a Sheik too.
Who's a Sheik?
It wasn't Vociferous, right?
No.
Gosh dang. Anyway, we should probably move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trivia.
I'm proud of myself remembering that Sam was on DVR though. That's it.
That's good.
Most people would only know the first. People would only know the first combo video. They don't know what comes up before it. So that's actually a pretty hard question, actually, the more I think about it. We have good news, though. This is an odd stage of Melee where injuries are happening, people are taking breaks, burnout's happening, but we've had not one, but two promising reports this week. Crimson Blur, do you know what they were?
Hax says that the surgery is promising. He feels optimistic. I think that's a good sign.
I think so too. It's kind of weird because I hope we get a dedicated injury analyst that can give us a report. Hax is questionable for this tournament, but he will come back in 6 to 8 weeks. He's doing drills.
DNP broken hands.
Okay, so I mean the thing, we're always happy to hear news like this, but I mean, haven't we heard? There's been times in the past where it's looked like things are starting to work out, and then something else happens. So, like, what? Not to be pessimistic about it, but what do we have to go on, or what has Hack said that we have to go on that makes it seem like this time is significantly different from the other surgeries that he's had?
Last surgery, he also said the same thing. So I'll agree on that. And I also think the pessimistic approach is to say that if he continues this style of play, then maybe it's an inevitability. I especially think it's hard to play on bad hands the way he's playing, let alone good hands, and stay consistent. So, that's one way of looking at it. But I'm in general, I want him to just be able to use his hands for the rest of his life. So screw Melee. If he feels like his hands are all right now, he can just go to Melee tournaments and hang out and keep his hands. That's the way I look at it.
I agree, and he can go to that post-stream life. I heard washed up and retired League of Legends players do that, and they make a living of some sort. I would watch a Hack stream.
I mean, even just the straight-up analyst life, you probably get some. You probably do pretty well there. I think Hax is a person who's known to have like strong opinions, and if you ask me somewhat unconventional opinions about something, so I think people will be very interested just to hear what he has to say, even if there's no playing.
Yeah. I think his personality is good enough that he could potentially again turn into a commentator and or analyst of some sort. That'll be good. I don't think it helps that when he's not playing Melee, it seems like he's on the computer like the whole day, playing League or typing or just browsing. Like, if you guys know Hack, you know his lifestyle. So
yeah,
it's definitely a continual lifestyle problem. I'm not sure he's really tackling.
What's crazy? Speaking of League, he's actually challenger right now, and before he had his surgery, he was in the top 100 for North America, which is actually insane.
In what?
He's in top 100 in North America ladder right now for League of Legends.
Okay, is it Twisted Fate that he just plays that, and then if he doesn't get Twisted Fate, he just quits?
Yeah, he only
takes the penalty.
Yeah.
So he's gone to massive extents.
I dropped out, Tafo.
what he'll do is.
Am I the only one losing Tafo?
No, I'm not getting Tafo. The young man's internet is garbage.
Oh,
Yeah, what's...
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So Hacks, am I still there? So
Yeah.
Hacks is literally will PayPal you money to dodge. Like if you're on his team, because when you get to the level that he's at with Challenger,
yeah.
like you queue up and you find the same people, and if he's already had to dodge once, he'll be like, "Yo, I'll pay you $10 if you dodge instead of me."
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So
But
that's
that's commitment, I guess.
um,
Speaking of which, I need somebody that I know and is good at League of Legends to help me learn.
You're trying to learn League? Why?
Because that's what I do for my job now, is I do analytics for League.
Oh, right. You're doing League Esports of all things.
Yeah.
I mean, I could help. I mean, I watched the game. I'm like not top level. I'm like platinum, which is like top 10 percentile, which is decent. But I could help you out with that. And
Top
I'm pretty
10%?
sure
That sounds pretty easy to get to.
Yeah, but I'm lazy.
I got it.
And then imagine
But
asking.
yeah, okay. Well, I've only been playing ARAMs literally 100% of the time.
Oh no, but I could help you
cool.
out.
I'm sure you can get really, really good at that game. Or
I have a champ that I want to main though.
that's not how it works.
Oh,
You don't
what do you
main.
do?
You play.
You gotta
everyone.
have like a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Because like the way the competitive format goes, they can ban champions.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can only have one of the same across the two teams, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
too. So like basically,
Okay.
you can get completely blocked out
Yeah.
if you don't know a bunch of them. So
Anyway, let's talk about another player who. It's not the most ideal situation, but at least he gets 3 months. Leffen.
yeah, Leffen earned his or he got his temporary visa. So best news about that is that he'll be able to go to tournaments like Evo, which is upcoming, and CEO. This does not solve his problem forever. This is just a temporary visa, and more importantly, this does not solve the problem forever for like every Smasher or every esports player, or even come close to that. I suspect we'll be dealing with this problem for a very long time unless Smash gets recognized as an esport more widespread like League is.
Mm-hmm.
And as the game becomes more international, I unfortunately think that we're gonna bump up against this a lot more and more. But
I mean, even in professional sports, like soccer players still have trouble with this sometimes. So, is this visa like? Is it 90 days or what is it like? Is there a reason it's just Evo and CEO? Is it that like specific time frame or?
that's the one they were able to get as fast as possible. Basically, they applied, tried different application methods. They luckily got a temporary visa for a short amount of time, and ultimately, like a lot of this stuff is basically a big corp is vouching for you that, hey, this guy's not going to just stay in the U.S. and not leave, right?
Right.
And they're putting themselves liable for it. So that's what really helped get it through. Red Bull did a big part of good stuff with them for helping Leffen out. And now, hopefully, after Evo, he won't have any trouble afterwards. But like I think the TSM blog post mentioned, it doesn't help that we don't have a letter from Nintendo going to the immigration office, right? We don't have a fucking NBA, who could just vouch for their own player. This is Dirk Nowitzki. He can get into the States where the NBA trusts us. He is an athlete, right? And I know,
especially because there might, maybe we're gonna have people who want to move here from other countries to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Semi-permanently.
So I think when especially when it comes to like the mainstream media, you hear stories about, hey, in League of Legends, players are being flown and, they're being called athletes by the U.S. government, and, it's being officially recognized as a sport by the U.S. government. You hear this, and like the talking point that the mainstream media uses then is to do the stupid, nonsensical argument of, are video games sports, right? Which, who cares?
It doesn't really matter.
The answer is who cares, but the true point is that the U.S. government designating it as a sport gives it a lot of privileges, right? It's kind of like when the U.S. government calls things religions, right? That means you get tax breaks.
Sure.
Like these things matter, and when you get called a sport, you get a lot of privileges. One of them happens to be that you have a lot of leeway with visas and immigration, things like that. So it is very important for us to be called a sport legally, even if, in the colloquial terms, who really gives a shit?
Right. It's a competitive thing.
Right.
That's at a large enough scale.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
And if you look at like what the U.S. government calls sports, it's not necessarily athletic activities, right?
Right.
It's not the traditional sports. It's things that sports legislation needs to apply to,
Yeah.
like a chess or something like that.
I wonder if, because there's going to be so many more games every year that are going to try to get this kind of status. So I wonder if eventually the U.S. will put out some kind of like strict criteria about, your game has to get to this level, have this many people, and so on, in order to get considered a sport for, esports purposes. Because, I mean, as far as I know now, it's basically like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I mean, many games come out every year that could be competitive.
And there's games that are, farther ahead in the line than we are.
Sure.
Currently, League of Legends is the only one that's recognized. Dota and Counter-Strike are still way bigger than us. So we're in line too. But having said that, I'll agree that when you have a much smaller or newer esport who would be vying for this, let's say a Vainglory or something, a game that's new, just came out. The U.S. government will have to look at it and be like, hey, does this meet our criteria? It's hard to make that criteria and know where that line is.
Yeah.
But I hope we're above it. I just hope wherever they land, wherever those old dudes in Congress land, if they ever even read up on this stuff or even care, I hope we just land on the right side of it.
Send me to Washington. I will represent the people.
Please. I would vote for you, dude. I would vote for you.
I would vote Bobby Scar for president.
I don't know if I'd do that, but I would vote for Sheridan.
I would vote for Sheridan. I don't know what you would go for. Can you qualify? Like, how old? I know president's 35 years old.
President's 35. Vice president or Senate is 30. House of Representatives is 25.
Are you 30?
I'm 33.
Oh.
Okay.
I got trunched.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can be a senator though.
Yes, I can.
Hell yeah.
And on the bright side, I guess at this point, Leffen. What was that?
I feel like at this point, like one of the best roads to a public office is just be famous first. No, like
yeah,
like being a state, like grinding your way up. Like literally, just be famous first, and you'll probably do all right.
Right.
Be famous and rich. That helps too. So,
and as a side note, we still have an ongoing petition. I believe we hit almost 50K. I'm not sure if we exceeded it. Only in 5 days, so that's pretty good. I think to kind of officially pass as a petition, we have to get to 100K. But I think we should just try to get as many numbers as possible. Like, I'm not sure how much it will influence, decision makers, but it becomes a decent talking point to say like that we can reference always and say like, oh, like 200K signed this petition. Like that's actually a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, for what do these petitions do? It means when a White House petition is made and you get over 100K signatures, the government is obligated to respond. That means they have to give a public statement about it. And you know what? That's cool. You know, so what if it doesn't end up doing anything? Like Tafo said, it at least causes some action. There's been plenty of other times where there have been naysayers in the community that say, hey, this won't do anything, that won't do anything, whatever. But I think, you know, the public's voice matters. It's important to get our feelings known. And, you know, I think as time goes on and esports grows, we're going to start having, like, esports lobbyists, right, where we're going to try to make changes. No, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, like, you're probably right.
You know, this is something we care about, right? And now I kind of understand why so many other sectors of industry do it. Because you face a problem like this, you think it's stupid, and then you're like, well, what can we do to change it? And does money help? If it does, yes, 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 I will shell out that money, and let's make this change, right? So I'm down, dude. Let's all be esports lobbyists. Let's change the world.
Make esports great again.
Esports great.
So that kind of brings up an interesting talking point because, and this leads us to our next topic. The TSM website, for those that are unfamiliar, wrote out a list of reasons why the officer basically viewed Smash as illegitimate, and you kind of touched upon that already, Crimson. But basically, we're too grassroots. We don't have a centralized organization or a Nintendo. And there was actually a third funny point where the rankings for us came from only non-legitimate sources. So a direct shout out to us.
Body, guys. You guys got bodied.
Bodied.
Yeah. That's
some all bullshit.
I don't have any rebuttal to that. It's like, hey, you're right.
What do you mean we're just some kids? What? But yeah, I mean those are the points that, like, I think there's a list of reasons why a P1 visa is, you know, how and why it gets approved. And yeah, one of the major ways is you have to get vouched for by the governing body of your sport, right? So if you're someone who does professional martial arts, you do Taekwondo, the Taekwondo tournaments have to say, hey, this guy's a professional athlete, right? Their governing organization. There's a lot of benefits to having a governing organization for a game or a league, and most legitimized sports or esports do have them to whatever degree, but not all of them do. I mean, Counter-Strike doesn't technically have one yet, right? Like, they have just a bunch of different leagues. They have their major system, but this is not quite the same. And, you know, there are other games that are in a similar scenario as we are, which is more, you know, disparate and spread out. But the vast majority of them, and many of the ones that are in our tier or lower, already have one and would have an answer to this question at the very least, right? You look at Smite, you'd at least have Hi-Rez send out that letter. If you look at, you know, World of Tanks, Wargaming would send out a letter and tell them about their league and how, you know, and give a little bit of justification for it. We don't have the same thing for obvious reasons, but, you know, it would help in these sort of scenarios.
Right.
So, how do we turn Melee on me into a league?
Where are we gonna get that money, though?
Well, what money do we need? Do we just need to be an LLC and have people give us money to be in the Melee Club? Or, I mean, what? Anybody can make an LLC. How do you make it a legit, as far as the government's concerned, organization?
I think you would need to have Nintendo licensing for the government. Mm-hmm. You would very much need to have that. You would need to be a Nintendo approved league.
Oh.
Yep.
Fine.
That'll be tough.
I think almost assuredly you would have to be Nintendo. If you're broadcasting game footage without licensing of the license holder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not legitimate.
Okay. I guess we're moving on to Wave Dash Games, boys.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
We're gonna do that, guys. I heard the funniest conspiracy theory. Well, technically I didn't hear it, but I conjured it in my head in regards to the Melee Omni script. Mango has been losing to Hungrybox to support his homeboy Leffen to make an outcry that Leffen is needed in the community for the summer to dethrone Hungrybox.
Well, the premise of that is that Leffen can actually do it.
Well, he's supporting his homeboy, and the lasting impression that people have is that HCC throwdown set where he swept him, that same tournament where you ended up fluffing him.
Yes, before there was a boo, there was me.
Sheridan is the professional.
I gave Leffen that ability at HTC. Never forget.
I never thought about it like that. Sheridan, you can also serve that purpose. You, Abu, I guess Tech could, but Tech plays so different from Hungrybox that I'm not even sure if it helps.
Honestly, I don't play very much like Hungrybox either. I don't think.
Yeah, Abu at least is like a little bit in that vein.
Yeah.
So he probably helps the most. But I'm sure like getting up throw up air timing doesn't hurt.
Right.
So, you can be a backup Abu at least.
Yeah. We'll call you
I don't know
Sheridan.
if I want that on my tombstone. He was a backup Abu.
He was the backup Abu. What a legacy! What a legacy to live behind.
So, I mean, but it does bring an interesting discussion overall because it kind of puts us at a standstill. And I've mentioned this, we've chatted in regards to I've been kind of actively trying to promote the international scene, like putting spotlights and tweeting out whenever Europe or Southeast Asia or Mexico does something. Doesn't this just become more and more of an issue as we have more dream hacks internationally, or does the U.S. tend to be more strict? I'm a little bit naive over.
It does tend to be stricter than any other country, but that doesn't mean it can't go the other way around, and it might eventually. Certain countries are stricter than others. The UK's can be strict, usually not to a U.S. citizen, but Germany can be strict. There's other countries that are definitely strict. But I think that this is something we're going to have to work through. I don't think it's something that necessarily will invalidate international players coming entirely, but it will be a hurdle that we'll have to deal with step by step. As for the international scenes, one thing I want to bring up is: did you guys see that Rudolph versus Zamsa shit talk?
Oh man,
I only saw a tweet with a picture of Rudolph lying down on 5 chairs.
Lying down on 5, dude. What a legend! Rudolph he's quickly becoming my favorite player in the whole freaking community. That guy is a boss. He plays smart. He doesn't fear anybody, and he plays pretty swag-like. So I mean,
Nick, can we go ahead and play that clip on the stream? Sheridan, that moment was. I don't know if it's just because it's a foreign language thing, but that trash talk was amazing. It wasn't.
I need to see this.
Because we look at the Salty Suite, and I still don't, to this day, I don't understand how Scar managed to do Apex 2015, the Salty Suite, because every one of those trash talk quotes were so cringe. I don't know if I would have been able to have composure.
Rudolph wasn't cringe at all. It was just amazing.
It was poetic.
It was just destruction.
Yeah. And
he said it. The way he also taunted him while Amsa was talking, this guy's just a legend.
The delivery was what sold it for me, because you could have another player say those exact same lines, and it could come out really awful. Yeah. Do we have that clip up?
We have the clip. Dr. Goon, our good producer, is telling us we have to play it now. Play the clip.
We're gonna have to wait till we see it in the stream, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
世界ランク22位だ。そんなことは関係ない。俺の方が強いという教えてやろう。
What a fucking legend. Dude, this guy's a legend. I'm telling you, man. I want him to be the best in the world. Like, I want that to be something that happens. I know he went on to lose that set to Amsa, but he's still a legend as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
That's ridiculous. Also, dude, Japanese Melee is swag as hell. You got Amsa versus Ultimate Rivalry. Then you got Flash, Gucci, Shippu. Like, dude, they got hella cool players. Like, they're not their players the play style, but like they're also really good and fun people. It's like Japanese Melee is absolutely sick.
I think a lot of people, myself included, have for a long time had this image of Japanese Smashers as none of their tournaments are for money. They, generally very humble people. They don't talk a lot. So it's really cool to see them get like really excited like this. Like something that we're used to in the States, to like show that passion is really strong there too.
Yeah. Dude, the recent Last Talk Legends Bomb Soldier doc also gave care. Like, do you remember the end of it where Captain Jack was talking to Bomb Soldier? And that was, I'm so happy we have that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy Bach went to that tournament. I'm so happy that Bach happened to be there and show all the footage. For the newer players out there who don't know, MLG Bach he was part of the Newlyweds, the Team Ben, I should say. Team Ben with wife and husband and Oro. He traveled to a lot of these old tournaments and he took footage. That's where almost all of the old footage you guys see is from. And he's basically a legend. He was Samox before Samox.
2005, 2006, some of 2007.
Even 04. He did some stuff in 04 too. But yeah.
Yeah, it's safe to say that 20 to 30% of his clips, or 20% of the doc is from Samox's clips, or from Bach's clips.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bach is low key one of the most influential and important people in Smash history.
In 2005, when there were just no tournaments, you could go 6 weeks without having a tournament in NorCal, or even 2 months. You would just tide yourself over watching some of the Bach montages. You watch the Balm 3 montage, the MLG San Francisco montage. Everybody should watch those. Those are basically required viewing.
And it's crazy because I was watching a video from Big House 4, right? Not that long ago. And I was watching this all grouped up, and I realized, it felt like it was forever ago. It felt like it was a different era. And in many ways, that's not even that long ago. I think back how many eras we've now layered on top of each other. And the community pre-2013, I almost section off.
Pre-Melee and all me.
Sure.
We divide it into pre and post Melee and on me.
You can say that, Sheridan. I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with it.
And it's the community was just so different. And I think overall, life is crazy in the sense that change happens so slowly that when you look back at 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you start to realize just how much things changed. But even this year, the events are so different than they were just last year. Some of it's is obviously our rapid growth, but I think there's just small cultural changes, small changes in standards and things like that. That gradually happen that starts to change the player base and the feel of events because they're very different.
I agree. Even gameplay has changed a lot. You look at EVO 2014 and you look at a lot of the players, although they're still amazing. You can notice a lot of things that have kind of changed and been improved in the meta. Like, look at Hungrybox's base game plan in 2014, and it looks actually very different than it does today. I think we kind of forget. Even like punish games, like Mango's Fox looked a lot different. It's crazy how much people are pushing, like in every kind of aspect.
Yeah, the gameplay stuff. I love. I think there was a infographic that Pactor and Zoo made from Smash Bros. Which showed the eras of the game. They made a video alongside too, kind of explaining it. I think that explains it really well about how exactly the game has evolved, right? Not just how the community has evolved, how the game has evolved. And for me, that sort of documentation is the most interesting to me of marking our community's progress, because we're the only esports that's lasted this long, right? Like Brood War had an amazing run. You know, they had a whole decade. Yeah, Well, they had different games though, right? Like 1.5 to 1.6.
How different are those really? I honestly don't know.
Pretty different. Pretty different.
Just think of it as like getting Project End, like from patch to patch.
Yeah, and then there's patches too. Like even League of Legends, like realistically, the game now versus the game a couple of years ago, it might as well not be the same game. It might as well be a sequel, right? Because it gives so many patches and so many updates, and you know, like with Dota 2, they have Reborn.
Sure.
Entirely new client. Like they are very different as time goes on. We don't have that, for better or for worse. Sometimes it's for worse, but at least what it gives us is very much akin to regular sports. We're able to like track both the progress of the community and the sport, the actual game, and see its progression without any outside influences. And because we've lasted this long, I think marking those eras can be highly interesting to me. I think that there's also a lot of learnings out of it, because there's many things, in my opinion, like even if you look back in 07 vid, have been lost with time in terms of the game. There's things that people did back then that they don't do anymore and are actually still good. You know, it's just they've kind of been forgotten, or the player who did it a lot just, you know, stopped playing, right? And so it got less popularized in a different era. And I recommend, like, I know it's always hard to go through because they make so many mistakes relative to now, to still study those players, because there's things that they did, especially stylistically, that there's a lot that you can learn from, right? I think every Marks player especially should look at Ken, because no one since plays in the same style or the same vein that he did. Even though, of course, a lot of it was mixed in with mistakes, there's still a lot of good in there.
You know what is weird is something that people don't do anymore in teams that they used to do all the time in like 2006, 2007 is when you have a 2-on-1 and you get a grab. It used to be obvious that you just jab lock the other guy forever, and you just keep jabbing and grabbing, and you do that until the other guy can kill, and then you kill. Nobody does that anymore. They try to do these team combos.
Yeah. Like that's actually a pretty good example. Everyone, like, when someone gets a grab, they don't do like team wobbling, right?
Right.
You can absolutely do that. Like, it's possible, and there's good setups with certain characters. Unfortunately, Fox is one of the best ones because his multi-hit jab, it's really good for that, actually. You don't have to make it that complex. it does work.
Fox, Falco, Sheik, all that.
Yeah, so that's not the only example. There's actually a ton of stuff, in my opinion, but it's good to look at old vids. I genuinely think that. I think modern players can get a lot out of it, too. You just have to kind of wade through all the bad and all the stuff that we've gotten better at.
Right.
Yeah. Anywho.
So we have, what do we have this month? It's kind of like really hard, like, because there's so many events that things get lost. We have Dreamhack this upcoming weekend, Gommel in 2 weekends from now, 3 weekends. I always forget which. Which weekend is Gommel?
Gommel is the 20th and 22nd.
Okay, and quietly, that's become a really stacked tournament. The more and more I look at that list of attendees.
Yeah, that's gonna be the biggest tournament in Canadian history.
Yeah.
EGLX, you had a good run, but Gommel is definitely going to be the biggest tournament in Canadian history by a long shot.
Yeah. And I think certain sponsors actually have helped fly in a lot of players to that event as well. So I think it could be arguably one of the most stacked tournaments of the year as well. Not just in terms of volume of players, but also like just the player talent at the top.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably look back at the year of 2016, and GAMA will be one of the six or eight biggest events of the year, right? And that nowadays, with how many events there are, that's saying something.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So what do we have for DreamHack? You're attending. I'm going to be at my brother's bachelor's party. It kind of sucks. It's in Canada, so I come to Canada on an off week where there's 2 major tournaments within a span of a month, and I just so happen to not be there.
You're going to be in a bachelor party during Mother's Day?
I already sent an order for flowers to be delivered with a personalized note to my mom.
Ooh, that's adorable.
That's kawaii.
Yeah.
The Tafo mom, I'm sure she is going to be very happy.
Hopefully.
That sounds fun. Your brother's getting married?
Yeah, he proposed a few months ago, so we're going to go to Montreal. I just got my currency. It's nice. I feel really bad for Canada right now because the exchange rate is very favorable in my eyes, not so much for you guys. So yeah, I won't be able to attend DreamHack, unfortunately. Who's attending? I think, what was it, Mango Hungrybox Muji King?
Are you talking about which tournament?
DreamHack. Let's talk DreamHack, and then I think we can end shortly after.
Sure. So we have Mango, Hungrybox, and Muji King, like you mentioned. There's SFAT going, Wobbles, Axe. I think Club's going. Chillin' Dude, Ken. You guys can. There's a DreamHack Smash list also that you can check out.
Yeah. And
Westballs
and Leffen are, I think, confirmed to not be attending. So
yeah, that list has them on there, but I do not believe they're attending.
Yeah. So PSA for TOs, use Smash GG. You can't have people spoofing fake names like that. I think DreamHack used a Google Doc to do signups, so that's why that ended up happening. Yeah,
one of the many advantages of Smash GG is a player's account is linked to their name, so you can't spoof. And that really helps. Back in the day, we used to have this problem a lot, actually, before Smash GG. People just register as other people's names, and you seed them amazingly, and then you show up and you're like, this guy's not Mango. I thought Mango was coming.
Yeah.
What the hell?
We had 3 Leffens for an Apex, I think.
Yeah, you don't know which one's which. You don't know which one's which.
They had to figure out which Leffen was the real Leffen.
Yeah. But yeah, with Smash GG, that problem is no longer possible. Technology is amazing. Either way, though, I think it's going to be a stacked tournament. I'm really excited.
Okay, so what I'm wondering is, I think Hungrybox has got to be the favorite, right?
I think he's the clear favorite, yeah.
Yeah. So, for a while, even through like Paragon LA, maybe even a little after, there were times where, people outside the gods would get close, very close against Hungrybox. I mean, Professor Pro beat him at Paragon LA. SFAT got really close at, was it Press Start? Since has anybody outside the top 6 even gotten close to beating him? Has he dropped a game outside the top 6?
I think the stat that was given recently, I think it was at Five Gods, is that going into, I think it was winners or grand finals, he only had dropped like 1 game. He's actually becoming Armada-esque in how he's dominating non-top 6 players. And honestly, sometimes even against top 6 players, I thought one of the biggest surprises of his recent set with Muji King was that Muji King took 2 games.
Exactly.
I didn't think Muji King would take him to Game 5.
Especially after, his Smash Summit he basically gave up before the set even started.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe winner's bracket versus Hungrybox, different loser's bracket versus Hungrybox for Muji King. He's posted a lot about how he feels about losses and tournament versus friendlies and all that. I don't know, is that is a 3-2 set? Does that indicate something could change, or was that Hungrybox just?
I don't know, man. I've been telling Mewtwo this a lot. Is that I just think it's unrealistic for him to expect to play entire tournaments out as Marth and Sheik, and then against one opponent use Fox every few months, right? Like literally, now it's becoming more frequent, but you know, they don't always play in every tournament when they play against each other. So usually there's like a 1 to 3 month distance between their sets, and so he's expected to not play Fox for like 2 to 3 months. He doesn't even play it in friendlies very often, and then he wants to whip it out against the best Jigglypuff in the world. You know, Jigglypuff that even Mango's Fox can't beat lately, and he's expecting to, like, it's unrealistic. And for me, like, to hear him say things like, "Oh, if I just got my ledge dashes perfect like I do in practice, I would win." It sounds ridiculous to me because he's not losing because of freaking ledge dashes, right?
No.
It's obvious that he's not. You know, Jason can be starting with it. I still think that his performance, like, it's hard to then say though that, hey, you shouldn't use Fox on Stadium or you shouldn't use Fox on FD maybe. Though he probably has a negative record on those stages as well. Because, as we saw in his last set, those are pretty good counter picks, man. And Fox on Stadium, like, the way Mewtwo plays can be hard, you know, even for Hungrybox, right? So I think he kind of got to strike a balance. Maybe switch his characters mid-set, but even then I don't like that because him switching between Marth and Sheik, he seems to be far more comfortable with than switching between those characters and then to his Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this time he doesn't, because like whenever he goes to an event, he needs a Prince Abu there, and maybe Soft can provide him that practice. But like, he's even held further back because Prince Abu is not going to be at this event. So I'm really pessimistic on Mewtwo going. There has to be so many conditions for to go right for Mewtwo to even kind of come close. And even his best performances, like, he still loses. He's like 1 of 14 in the last 15 sets. And sometimes you know, he wins 3-2, sometimes he goes 2-3, but the vast majority are 1-3 and 0-3. And to get shut out completely when you have 2 counter picks is actually really horrendous.
Is it fair to say that it is just as or more likely for the next tier of players to beat Hungrybox than it is for Mewtwo? Like, would you be more or less surprised if Axe or SFAT or Lucky or Wobbles beat Hungrybox than Mewtwo?
I think they're more. I mean, I would never give Wobbles a shot at it. I mean, it looks impossible for Ice Climbers.
Honestly, I would still take Mewtwo over the field.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Against Hungrybox. We're saying specifically against Hungrybox.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
I agree.
I don't know. Lucky and SFAT, I think they can. They might.
I don't know if those days are gone or not, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been so dominant the last 6 months.
Even Mewtwo small percentage might be higher than.
I think Mewtwo is definitely higher. We have to give him credit here. He took him to Game 5. I think that's worth something.
And I mean,
you know, Tafo, he took it in Game 5, but are we ignoring like the years of not taking him Game 5 and just Game 3-0? Do you remember that Paragon Orlando set? That's a lot.
You know, like I want to like erase that from my memory. Like, I never want to see something like that ever happen in a grand finals of a tournament ever again.
What's sad to me is just like we're doing right now, Mewtwo could take it as, hey, I took it in Game 5 last time, therefore I should do the same Fox strategy and, you know, and fight and do what, you know, just took him to Game 5 last time. Instead of, you know, looking at his past 3 years and being like, hey, by the way, my win rate is like almost 0%. Maybe this isn't working.
And we tend to forget that Mewtwo kind of has that surprise factor. Like, I can totally imagine like Captain Crunch and because there's like a low amount of unique threats at Dreamhack. Like it's only Mango and Mewtwo Like I wouldn't be surprised if Captain Crunch is literally breaking down the footage for Hungrybox, and Mewtwo doesn't really tend to adapt change his game plan up. Like I can totally see Hungrybox just 3-0ing him with adaptations with an analyst.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's true.
Hungrybox is going to go home and watch those videos. It's not like he won't. Maybe Mewtwo will do the same. You know, that's possible as well.
I mean, like, what was he going to do? Oh, I missed ledge dashes. I must practice ledge dashes is his only conclusion. I mean, I think that's why like he needs somebody like you, to be perfectly honest.
I know that's what he says in words, but I would hope that if you watch his game tape, he wouldn't just think that's why he lost. Maybe he'll make other conclusions.
Dude, no, at the summit, we literally had like an hour-long conversation with Mewtwo on why he lost, and the only conclusion he came up with was that he missed ledge dashes, even as much as we've tried to convince him otherwise.
Yeah, we did try. We tried.
We really did try.
You're like, yeah, that's not why, but you know, it's Jason. I love that guy. As the chat knows, I root for him. I love Mewtwo and I think of all players, he needs someone who's in his corner the most, maybe, to just like shake. Like, remember that amazing Armada clip where they were playing teams with each other, and Armada just like basically yelling at him to just go Sheik, shut up, go Sheik. Like that sounds silly, but that helped Mewtwo a lot. Like, we could not even call it a coach anymore. Just there's someone in his corner that says, "Hey, Mewtwo, you should probably go Marth," and just repeats that for an entire tournament. I would make it probably.
I want him at least to experiment with Marth. I mean, when was the last time he even tried? He's tried Sheik. He's tried this crap that doesn't work. Why not try?
It was an exhibition set, smashed the record, and we went to Game 5. And for what it's worth, like Mango was really upset at that event because like Mango was going Mario and Falcon, and Mewtwo and Hungrybox were going to try hard. So like I do put some like value in the fact that Mewtwo did take it to Game 5 with Marth.
Oh yeah. What the hell? And you know, and the thing is like, I think that he hasn't practiced the matchup, and I don't think he might not know it that well right now, but I think long term, he has a much greater chance of winning it. You know, like once he learns it. Like, I just think he's been doing this particular strategy for so long, and it's so unpromising. Only because, like, it would be more promising if he played his Fox as much as he does his Martha or Sheik, right? But he doesn't. So the same next time.
I mean, it's debatable, right? Like, he can't even practice Fox for that long, and that's part of the reason why he has to take breaks. Like, it's like a vicious cycle of, oh, I'm going to try Fox today. Oh, my hands hurt. I can't practice Melee anymore. I guess I'm going to go to Smash 4. Like, Fox is the main reason why that's happening for him.
Sure. But, I mean, I don't... Maybe it's a mix. Maybe when Hungrybox goes Dreamland, he goes Fox. Maybe when he counterpicks Stadium, he goes Fox. Maybe... That's the way to do it. I don't know. But I want something new to come out of it. I don't think it's wise for him to continue a strategy that is not working. And that doesn't mean, like, if one strategy is not working, doesn't mean that, you know, he just is not as good as Hungrybox or he just can't beat Hungrybox. Armada tried Peach against Hungrybox way back in the day, and then he was like, you know what, I'm going freaking Young Link because this is not working, right? And you know what, it worked out because ever since then he's had a positive lifetime record against Hungrybox. So, you know, it's just us wanting something new. Those two having to pair up in bracket, it's not, you know, it's usually not entertaining for the fans.
Yeah. Gotta think about it. So it's interesting. I think they ran this bracket 100 times. Hungrybox is winning the majority of them. I think it's very fair to say. But at the very least, you know, I think Mewtwo comes back into the discussion as, you know, he could be number 3 or number 4, like the way he's playing lately. And
yeah, he's playing very well lately, to his credit. So, I mean, if Hungrybox wasn't going to this event, it's arguable that Mewtwo, you know, is, if not the favorite, he's like a 50-50 between him and Mango, right?
Like, I would say he wins it 40 times out of 100, the whole event.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Which I think is pretty
reasonable.
Pretty good. So it's going to be interesting because, you know, I'm either, and this is actually like this is kind of one of those type of events, other than like Hungrybox kind of being a shoo-in for winners finals, that Mango and Mutaking could lose to a flurry of people that are also coming. So these events like these are kind of exciting for me because you get to see a bunch of very hungry top 15 level players really try to step it up and really prove themselves. And I think, you know, when I look at SFAT, I look at MACD, I look at SUJ, like they've been grinding really hard, and you can see substantial improvement. Maybe the results aren't quite there yet, but like in their gameplay, you can analyze it and just say like, wow, they're getting a lot better and they're covering their weaknesses better. So it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of plays out.
For sure. Now, in that next tier, we have Axe, SFAT, Lucky, and Wobbles, SUJ, MACD, and Wizrobe as well, Duck, and Nintendo. So a lot of guys, so some of these guys are not going to make top 8. You know, and to flesh out the list, you have Ken, Chillin, DizKid, Esam, Kira, and then of course like the Texas guys like Jake 13, Mojo, etc. Do you guys think that who of that list, right? Let's assume the 3 gods are going to make it in. We have Axe, SFAT, Lucky, Wobbles, SUJ, and MACD. That's 6 names, and Wizrobe, right? That's 7 names.
Duck and Nintendo?
Duck and Nintendo, sure. 9 names, right. So, assuming that there's only 5 of those guys make it in, right? Only 5 of those 9 make it in. 4 of them are not making it in, right? Which of those 4 do you guys have not making it in? Again, that's Axe, Lucky, SFAT, Wobbles, SJ, MACD, Wizrobe, Duck, and Nintendo.
I'm going to rule out Lucky from the get-go.
You think Lucky's not going to make it?
I just haven't liked his game, or I haven't liked his play in a long while. And I don't know, the choking habits seem to be very real, and like I can see him losing to Wobbles, I can see him losing to SFAT, I can see him losing to Axe, and a lot of 50-50s, but I think I have to write the momentum about the other players that are tending to have been performing well, and so I'm eliminating Lucky. I would also eliminate Nintendo, just for the fact that MACD and SUJ and Wizzy are there, so that's going to be really tough for him. I hate to say it, but I'm going to eliminate Duck as well. I think that there's too many people that are just solid against Samus in this kind of condensed player field that will take him out. Although I think I have to give Duck a lot of respect. I think.
You think if you have Duck versus SFAT, who do you got winning?
It kind of goes back and forth. It's a coin flip, but then like Duck has, I mean, this player field has DizKid, Boogie, Nintendo, and Wobbles, and Duck is really awful against Ice Climbers.
It's not going to be he's not going to double up on a DGLI performance here. I agree. Axe is going to be hard for him. You have the Ice Climbers, which are actually going to be hard for him. It's supposedly a good matchup.
Did you see DizKid Boogie at Fight Pit?
Yeah, I know. It's been bad, though. Of recent times, the climbers are putting in work. And then, you know, you have SJ, who's probably not going to beat Wizrobe, who I doubt he'd beat. And MACD's actually incredible against Samus and double eliminated him at EGLI. So I think Duck is almost assuredly not going to make it, actually. I think he's headed to a 13th place.
Are Shroomed or Pew Pew entering too? Or am I delusional?
I don't have them. I don't see them on the list.
Okay, so that's 3, and then I think my last one would one of the Falcons.
Yeah, I think one of
they have to play each other and lose.
Yeah, I think one of the Falcons will likely not make it. It's hard to say which of the 2. It depends. Like if they play each other, then Wizrobe probably.
I don't know. Like I honestly still don't really see. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but I just feel like Johnny is still. It's still like the clear best Falcon. I mean, I don't know. I don't really see Wizzy beating a whole lot of the top people in that field, and S2J has a legit shot against all of them.
So I think S2J is very likely making it. The reason why I think S2J is making it is because S2J actually has amazing matchups against everyone of his tier and below. Usually where he gets stopped is like when he faces the top 6 player, right? S2J's lifetime records against guys like Mango, Hungrybox, Armada, Pluck, even Pluck, even I should say top 8 people, Westballs, all really horrible lifetime records, right? But in this tournament, there's that top pool is actually shrinked a little bit, right? And in tournaments like that, he typically makes top 8 because him versus Lucky is, sure, Lucky favor, but that's the only one of these where he's really, like, arguably at a disadvantage. Like, him and SFAT probably 50-50. He beats Wobbles. He's going to beat MacD. Wizrobe is probably slight Wizrobe favor, but it's not like S2J can't do it. He'll beat Duck. He'll beat Nintendude. Axe, of course, will be hard, but, it's on the whole, it sounds like he'll face one person that, that he can't beat in winners, but then he'll go through losers and he'll get 7th or 5th. So that's how.
There's actually one more. There's actually one more player also entering. Pew Pew is also in the mix, so we have to eliminate one more.
Oh snap!
I think this is going to be tough for Kevin. It's been a hard season for Kevin so far. Pretty much since Genesis. Nothing really impressive. He's got like a win over Westballs and some losses that are really below his status.
9th at Genesis is not terrible. But he could have gotten top 8, right? I feel like the story of PP would have been a lot different had he gotten that. But of course, Summit was very disappointing. It feels like in many ways he's becoming a teams player, right? Like a guy people just watch for or watch mostly for teams, right? And I think it's weird because for Pew Pew fans out there, and I'm one of them, it feels like we've been waiting a really long time, right? We've been waiting for a very long time for a top 8, and he just hasn't been hitting it, right? It's been a lot of 13ths, been a lot of 9ths, been a lot of 17ths, right? 25ths even.
Yeah.
So
and it's weird because there was a brief time, like I'm thinking, like after around Evo of last year, where he wasn't beating any of the top 10, but he had like a very high success rate against the people under him, and he was a pretty clear shot for number 10 or 11, like just nationally at one point, and then it just didn't really maintain.
Well, of course, he had his great Apex, and he got 4th at I'm Not Yelling, if you remember. And then he, did a back-to-back 9th places at CEO and Evo. So early last year, it was a pretty high point for Kevin, actually, right?
Yeah.
And he looked pretty good. And then it's been all bad. Paragon, he got 17th. ACC got 13th. Pound, he got 17th recently. It hasn't been a good, I would say, 6+ months now, and people expect slumps, but now it's getting to a point where it's like, what if this is actually his level, right? What if he is more on the brink of top 20 and not, close to a, people put him in somewhere between 9th through 12th is where he's historically been ranked, right?
Right.
And now it's like he's starting to get results where you're like, is he closer to like 17th through 20th? Because he really hasn't been performing. So
yeah, it's tough. And when I look at this field for him, I look at the 13 coveted players that are in this event. I really can't put him as a favorite. He's maybe 50-50 against Lucky and maybe a slight favorite against MacD, but like against everyone else on this list, like I'm not very confident in PPU winning if I had to bet on it.
Yeah, I think this is a good chance for a breakout tournament still. Like, this is one where, okay, he can get top 8, if everything goes right. But I'll agree with you. Like, I think SUJ and Wizrobe, I would take them both over Kevin right now.
Yeah.
The Ice Climbers, man, Wobbles is really good at that matchup. And Nintendo, that like I would still take him, right? It's hard to say. MacD has gotten better at the Marth matchup. Like, he can even do it, right? Like, I don't know. Like, Axe is going to win for sure. Espen and Lucky are probably his best chances. But it's hard to think of a bracket for Pew Pew where he makes top 8.
I mean, the only thing I could really see, to be honest, is him like fluking it against Mango, which could, in a long shot kind of happen. He rides winners quarters, and then he plays like MacD for 9th, and then he gets in. That's the only like really foreseeable situation that I can see happening, and that's not very likely.
And there's always like there's dudes in the bracket like Kira, or you never know, right? Like,
sure,
fuck it, like it can happen, man.
Or Mojo or Jake 13, like those Texas guys are actually really good, and Valdo and those like sleeper Mexico picks are like actually really good too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, he's very favored against those guys, but I just like, I want this to be the tournament where, like, okay, K-Toy got top 8. We've been waiting, and I think he can do it, but he's got to go in there with some preparation.
Were you in that Smash Summit room?
Which Smash Summit room?
Because Kevin or PPU was literally playing Mango like the entire weekend, and he looked really good. And I'm worried that he becomes like this like slightly better version of like Alex 19, where like he does like phenomenally well in friendlies, and I've seen it, and he just never. I don't know if it's a mindset issue or a mentality thing, but it just doesn't ever seem to click in tournament.
I mean, I'm going to say something bold. I think Pew Pew is one of the most talented players I've ever seen. Right, like. I straight up think that guy is a genius at this game. His neutral game is like out of control good. He thinks of options that many other people don't. I think the reason why he's so good at teams comes down to that talent in that neutral game. Right, he wins so many exchanges over and over again. Right, he's got a lot of good things going for him, but I also don't think he's innovated very much on his style over the last year. And he hasn't really layered it. Maybe it's a work ethic issue. I don't know. I would love to pick Kevin's mind and see exactly like how he's been trying to get better at the game in the last like year or so.
Yeah, I really like to hear Kevin's take on his arc, like the last 18 months or so. Based on, I mean, this is just my personal observation that I've made a couple times is I feel like plays way more conservative than he needs to, just generally speaking, in tournament. Especially like close to the edge guarding. He does a lot of the Ken where you just stand on the stage and see what the Fox does recovering and try to counter it. And I don't think that's a good look. And if you watch him play against Ice Climbers too, I can't think of a recent set, but just generally, it's a very conservative approach, and sometimes I just really want him to try to force his will on the opponent instead of waiting for the opening to materialize.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it. Like, I think you're onto a really good point. Is that he plays scared, and like I think that I noticed this kind of agreeing is that you look at, for example, the last stocks against Ice in Game 5. Like, he was making a lot of like panic errors that were uncharacteristic, and it tells me from what I observed that he's playing really scared and nervous and anxious, and that might also be the reason why he's playing really conservative. And that's not his game. He likes to force the tempo. He likes to force uncomfortable situations and capitalize on that. But when you play conservative, you're not going to be able to get those mix-ups and flutter your opponent.
I think there's that. I also think that when I watch his games, at least, one thing I notice is that when he gets opened up, he gets destroyed. right? In terms of defensive options and like the momentum and swing of a match, right? He gets punished extraordinarily hard, and it's like it ends up cascading, right? Like, so if he gets off stage, he might, like during a last stock, he's the kind of Marth who might get double jump into a shot, right? Like, it happens. It feels unfortunate, but it's like there's definitely a panic button there, and I think that maybe he plays against a lot of people who he beats up on, and he just wins neutral over and over again, like I was mentioning. But it feels too easy when after he gets hit. It feels like he's either it's staying in the match mentally, because I've seen him do great DI before, but it might be that he's panicking in the moment, and then he just eats 80% when he could have sometimes reduced it down to like 40 or less, or even crouch canceled, or done other things. Defensively after the hit, I haven't been super impressed with him, but I think it's a straight neutral, the stuff that's the hardest to teach. He's one of the most impressive players I've ever seen, and so I still am a believer.
Yeah, and he lives in Santa Cruz, which is, if you guys don't know NorCal geography, it's a little isolated from the rest of the Bay. It's going to be at least a 40-minute drive to get to people in San Jose that are reasonably skilled. There's really nobody at his level, even close, in Santa Cruz. Shroom used to be there for a while. He moved away a couple of years ago. So it's, when Kevin goes home to San Mateo, then, he's got Zach and all the other people there to play with. But during the course of the school quarters, he doesn't, I don't really know if he gets the practice that he wants to get to maintain, like, the skill that he wants to have.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's obviously a factor. I think that's a fixable factor. I mean, he's a full-time there right now, right?
Yeah, he's a full-time student.
Yeah, he's a full-time student, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's less fixable, right?
Yeah.
But that's part of it, I guess, right? So he's probably juggling a lot of things in the meantime.
Yeah.
But he should. I mean, if he's gonna practice something, he needs to learn how to freaking chain grab on FD.
Yeah, I think actually I've kind of seen glimpses of him transitioning, or at least we've talked about there's FD Marths and then there's Yoshi's and Stadium Marths, and he's definitely not been an FD Marth, but I think that's something we might see him improve on the next few tournaments.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that even the Marths that are better on are more, their style fits those stages more. You can learn the freaking chain grab, man. It's hard. It's extraordinarily hard, and I think people don't give enough credit to how hard it is.
Right.
But he can be better. So. Anywho, that's a lot of ragging on Pew Pew. I hope he gets top 8.
I'm a huge Pew Pew fan. It's just, part of this is just I want him to be so good, and I spend a lot of time thinking about why he's not where he should be.
Yeah. So anyhow, we got Pew Pew probably not making it. We got Duck probably not making it. We said that one of the Falcons won't make it.
Yeah.
Wizrobe or SJ. I think it sounds like we're leaning towards Wizrobe not making it of the two, just because we like SUJ's matchups against the field more than we like Wizrobe. Even though Wizrobe we would take in the head-to-head. Who else? That still leaves room. Like, do you think MacD will make it? With this bracket, I actually think he will.
I do too.
There's the 2 ice climbers. He does well against Duck. The Falcons are trouble for sure, but he'll probably only play one of them. And the Lucky and SFAT matches are relatively coin flips, and he does well against Axe. So I think MacD's probably going to top 8.
And I think also, even though there are like his bad on paper matchups are high variance enough that you can't put him. Somebody else on his skill level would have a lesser shot just due to variance.
Yeah, I think MACD's almost guaranteed to make it. So I would say Axe, MACD, SFAT, and then the 3 gods. That's 6 right there. The other 2 are the big question marks. Lucky, my soul.
I think we also said
Lucky.
Nintendo probably not making it.
Yeah, probably Nintendo not. Wobbles. So
You don't want to. You don't
Wobbles
want to bet
SJ
against Texas Wobbles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So basically, Wobbles, S2J, and Lucky, only 2 of those 3 are making it, right? So if I would pick 2 of those 3, I'd probably pick Wobbles and S2J at this point. So I agree with Tafo. There's a high chance that Lucky is not going to make top 8.
It's going to be so bracket dependent for those guys.
Hey, Crimson, when's the Twitch party?
I have to look it up. There is a Twitch party though, which is a good thing to look out if you're a Smash fan. If your best player is performing very poorly at a tournament and the tournament has a Twitch party, you probably know why.
Yeah, shouts to Lucky injuring his knee because he had those hurricane drinks. But the reason why I ask is because if it's on Saturday night and not Sunday night, then that's not good for Lucky fans.
Yeah. I'm actually looking it up right now, just to. If it's on Saturday night, it's over. It's not good for Mango fans either. Letting you know.
It depends what time top 8 is. If it's Genesis time, 6 p.m. It's doable.
What day is the 8th? Today is what? The 5th?
5th.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday. Oh, it's on Sunday. Right? That's the 8th on Sunday, right? Yeah. So the party's on Sunday. We're good, fam. Players are going to be in great shape.
Okay, that gives Lucky a 30% chance increase of making top 8. I'm not even kidding.
It does.
So are you gonna babysit the SoCal players to make sure that they don't go too crazy?
Oh well, I mean, if the party's after top 8, they can do whatever the hell they want, man. So.
But I'm talking about the late night drinking that usually happens at the hotel room.
There's going to be festivities happening on a Saturday, and I definitely think that Austin, especially as a city, after South by Southwest, we're going to go to the 6. It's going to be fun. So yeah, it could potentially still be a problem, but hopefully they'll still do okay. They've at this point they're experienced at hungover Smash, so. It's sad to say, but this is, it's hard to stop them.
Okay, the main reason not low-key, is I want Lucky to get a sponsor. So I want him to do well. So for him to get a sponsor, he needs to do well. None of this, let's get 9th in.
That's true.
It's kind of shocking he still doesn't have one in many ways. He's definitely on the short list. I think Duck is as well. Duck is also on that short list. So he needs to continue performances like he did in last year to really land one. He wants one for sure. So absolutely.
So we're kind of the conversation's kind of going in circles here. So okay, let's wrap it up. Comes in.
Did not hear your question, Tafokints.
I didn't either.
Shoutouts.
I'm giving shoutouts?
Yes.
Okay. Who do I got to give shoutouts to? Shoutouts to Dreamhack and Austin, the Texas scene, because I want every tournament to be hosted in Texas or SoCal, preferably, because those are 2 of my favorite places in the United States. And other than that, we should go to international. I want a tournament in Rio de Janeiro. We need more party locations. We gotta get it going, right? This is the main reason I want international growth, because there's a lot of countries I want to go to, and I want to be flown out on Twitch's dime. You know, like this is. I'm getting sick of watching my other esports, team friends talk about how they're going to all these cool locations.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I'm going to South Bend, Indiana. Like, no, see, but they all made fun of me. They're like, why is there an event in South Bend, Indiana? And you know what? Because the people of Indiana love Smash Brothers, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that, and they have a lot of heart. But it's not, exactly a destination event, I would say.
Man.
That was one of the smallest airports I've ever seen in my life. There's a South Bend airport. Yeah, no one was there. And there was like 30 people attending the whole airport. The whole airport was like one security guy, one check-in desk, and like that's it.
Smallest airport I've ever been to is West Yellowstone, Montana.
Oh my goodness.
The gates were literally chain link fence gates. And you just walk through the gate and you get on the plane.
And when you land, would that mean you just literally just walk out of the plane? Like
you walk out of the plane, go down the stairs, you walk through the literal gate.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick. So it's like a prison gate.
I mean, it's a chain link fence with a swinging gate.
That's crazy. Dude, man, the private jet life, that's the future. What if we get, top player privilege to the point they start having some jets?
Or, maybe the production team, too.
Yeah, what if? Yeah, the TOs.
We can make it happen. I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe not in our lifetime. I feel like we're going to constantly be, the generation before it gets good.
Yeah.
Right?
We can tell the kids how we made their lives.
The fucking Bill Russells or whoever was like the early commissioner of the NBA and like those guys. And then you're old and you watch like Michael Jordan get all these endorsement deals and you're just salty the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, shout outs to Texas. I'm excited. Shout outs to my boy D1 because we're gonna be doing some commentary. It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna be able to commentate with wife for the first time ever. We're also on the block with Chillin. So that's a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's a good time. And then after that, like I think Tafo mentioned, the next one I'm going to is Gommel, so I'm pretty hyped for that as well. I'm also hyped to have some open weekends because I actually haven't had break weekends for a while, which is surprising because typically the spring is more of a relaxing time. Happy it's not because I hate droughts in content. And surprisingly, I think April of this April that has passed might arguably be, up there in terms of months in Smash history. I've had incredible events between Smash Summit, EGLX, and what else was last month? And Pound. Just pretty solid April. The best April we've ever had. Yeah, those are my shout-outs, Tafo. Shout-outs to the chat as well.
Sheridan, what about you?
Well, I was going to say shout-outs to the chat, but Blur already got that. But yeah, thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. Thank you, of course, Blur and Tafo, for coming on and having a good discussion on short notice. We need to get these, I hope people are liking these pre-event MIOM analysis streams. Hopefully we can do some more of these in the future. All the pre-EVO ones have always been great. So I want to thank you guys for just like keeping this alive, and let's try to do something, really great pre-EVO again. And also shout outs to the Texas scene. I think maybe one of the most underrated scenes in terms of overall skill, even to this day when we know people like Mojo and Arc make pretty significant waves at Nationals. Really hoping to see, some breakout performances there. And shout outs to everybody who's watching.
Very cool. And for me, shout outs to the good people for
Shout outs to Tafo's internet.
I think it's been like
Tafo's
2.5.
internet.
Tafo's internet, a problem that just keeps giving. You know, it's just constantly, this is just a source of entertainment for us all.
It's a source of entertainment, and it really bugs the hell out of me. Laptop comes in the mail this weekend. I will be going to an office space starting next week. I will be really excited because this tilts me more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
So is it your computer or your internet, your ISP?
So it's my ISP. I've tried literally everything, and I don't get FiOS. I don't get Frontier. Other internet services tell me not to get them because their services suck in my building.
Who's your ISP? We'll never know. We'll never know, but I'm guessing it's Comcast.
Yeah, I would think so.
My guess. That's the blur assumption.
Charter.
Wait, who is it?
Charter. Can you hear me now? Charter.
Yeah.
Charter.
Yeah.
Charter. Okay. Well, I've never heard of them, which is a bad sign. So I don't know, dude. I think it's a lot of. I appreciate the commitment that you're putting in. You're gonna rent out an office space just to do content. I think that's pretty sick. And also, like, I never really thought about doing that. So if you guys don't know, Tafo's gonna basically there's like shared office space which you could just rent, like you could rent like a room or whatever. And he's gonna like write articles there, and he's going to like do shows like this with better internet. Real good commitment to the people to like spend money on that. But it's nice too because you get to go away and like separate the time you want to work on Smash from like your home life, right? So that's something I've never done before. When I go home, I continue to do stuff. Like it's like a second office. It's pretty sick. I'm excited for when you have new internet because Tafokints is basically he's a cripple right now, crippled by the bad internet. Have you ever tweeted at Charter? Have you tweeted at Charter? You know that makes a difference, right? I've tweeted at airlines who've gypped me before, and I've gotten so much stuff. I once tweeted at Delta Airlines, and I got an official email.
I tweeted at them.
Dude, I got a response back, and they gave me a free flight. I'm serious. You guys, you got to use your privilege.
I tweeted at Charter, got no response. I tweeted at Check when they give me this stuff from Mix for a free bag of Chex Mix.
They gave you a free bag of Chex Mix?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you just tweet at them, and they're it's a privilege. But anyway, so I think that about wraps it up. It's 9 o'clock here and 12 midnight on the East Coast.
All right,
that wraps it up. Thank you, Tafo.
Master Dr.Z.
Tafo, you're done. Thanks for the show, guys. Tafo's internet sucks. So everyone tweet at Charter. Tell them their service sucks, and they are bringing down the Smash community one failed packet at a time.
Last shout out, of course, like you mentioned, to our producer, Dark Dragoon, Nick. Thanks as always.
That's a good shout out. And yeah, actually, you know what? Next week, you can check out me and Tafokints' new show called The Commentator's Curse. We're going to be doing a live analysis just like this. And that will be, again, when Tafo actually has internet. You can check that out on, on Thursdays. I think we're going to be doing it weekly. So that'll be fun. And I'll see you guys later.
Sick with it.
Thank
you, Tafo. Thank you, Blur. Thank you, all our viewers. Thank you, Nick. And I think we're out.